because, etc. But no, they're just like amazing people. And their language comes from Bactrian, which was the language of Zoroaster, who came from Balkh. And they're still speaking like the Zoroastrian original language. And I've put their word list of peace words into my dictionary, 99 names of peace. And, wait for it, poha means intelligence. So, yeah, there's just so much to learn by looking at each other's languages and each other's vocabularies. And I want to spend more money on etymology than on nuclear missiles on this planet. Am I weird, or is this just a strange planet?
Well, words do carry immense meaning. For example, we've always heard of the word sin in English.
Yeah.
Sin is a
bad
thing.
Yeah.
You commit, that's a sin.
Yeah.
What? Marrying a man, that's a sin, somebody would say, auntie. And do you know, in Spanish, sin means without. And I equate it to being without a divine spirit.
Exactly, which is what I was about to say. Add a G, God, sign. It's like you just have to elevate it. So it's, that's what I... Yeah.
And Sin is the moon god in the pagan traditions of Syria and Haran, where Abraham came from. Abraham was a moon worshipper of Sin, who was the one true God behind all phenomena, because the moon god is the eternally recurring light that turns up. I mean, it's cool to think of the moon as God, because he's never there when you want. He's always in another part of the sky.
I even remember
always changing his shape.
Goddess as well. I should have said goddess goodness.
Yeah.
Was it in
of course it's a goddess too.
Solstice, the winter solstice? Or the summer solstice, you took us out on that hill where you lived in with Diana and...
In the Cotswolds, yeah.
In the Cotswolds, yes.
And we looked
one
at the
moonlit night.
Mm.
And it was lovely. I think you were even lying on the grass, but I didn't.
Well, I am a moon worshipper.
Not you alone, but the others.
We, as a team, yes.
There was a group of us, yes.
Yeah.
What was the first enlightenment word that you spoke before?
Today, in the workshop.
Just before omniscience, I didn't write it down.
I talked about pleroma, the fullness of the Gnostic understanding. God is the pleroma.
Have you got a phonetic?
Absolute.
Have you got a phonetic sample of it, the one you want to know about? Have you got
well, it's on camera, it's filmed, so...
But he's questioning it, and I'm wondering if you could...
Oh, no, I don't have anything.
Nothing phonetic at all?
No, there's nothing there, so number one is
phonetics
blank.
Can help.
So,
it's your thing, like, does it pick up sound?
No, it doesn't, no.
No, you have the right. It's a tablet.
Right,
okay.
No.
Yeah, no, anyway, you've got it, you can listen to it again. But I did want to share that Poole, meaning awareness or intelligence, in Pashto, because, what's not to like about every culture and language having its own key words that we can celebrate.
Yeah. What's the name of the guru who tells of Indian prime ministers you talked about?
Acharya Tulsi. Two words, Acharya, A-C-H-A-R-Y.
Is he alive? Or?
No, well, he's alive in the higher worlds. He's up there with the chinwag of the gurus in the heaven worlds. Bald guy, I mean, totally amazing. And we had an interesting... I'll just tell this story, and then I want to finish with one last thing. How I met him. I was invited to this Jain conference of very important peace people from all over the world, and I was just one of like several hundred. It was boiling hot day, and for 3 days we sat in this boiling hot sun, listening to people going on the platform about their stuff. And they were all coming and saying, I'm from country X, and I do very important stuff, and I'm a very important philosopher, and do blah, blah, blah. And then there was no time for discussion or questions, so then people would sit down, the next guy would get up. It was just the way it was organised. And the guru sat on the platform in his white robes with his team, listening politely and occasionally interjecting. And I had all these questions, I was thinking, like in response to them. And when it came to my turn, because I was just a very small beginning chap, I wasn't important, I got to the microphone on like the third day, halfway through the third day. And I said, look, I've been listening here, and I had this speech prepared, but I'm not going to read it. Instead, I've been thinking up all these questions whilst listening to you all, and now I'm going to read my list of questions. which I'd written down, I proceeded to list 20 questions. And they were quite deep questions like, anyway, I can give you the list, about violence and non-violence and omniscience and enlightenment and where do souls go when they die and all kinds of deep metaphysical stuff, right? And there'd be no time for anyone to ask any questions, let alone this stuff. So anyway, I read the questions and then I sat down. Right? Totally broke all the rules. You're not supposed to do that. Anyway, and then towards the end, then it was the end of the session, and I heard this chap tap me on the shoulder, and I thought, oh my God, they're going to throw me out. I broke the rules. I wasn't supposed to ask questions. But in fact, it was the chief monk of the Guru, Acharya Tulsi, saying he wanted to see me afterwards. So after the conference was over for that day, I was taken backstage to meet Acharya Tulsi, who spoke through translators, and he said, Thomas, I loved your questions. I listened to them all intently. Thank you for asking them. They're all really important. And I want you to work with this guy, and he speaks fluent English. Him and you can have a chinwag and work out what's what over the next couple of days. And so what I liked about Acharya Tulsi is he said he was an unorthodox guru. He wanted to encourage questioning. He didn't want people just to worship him as a guru. He wanted them to use their intellect, their mind, to question everything, to ask questions. Yeah. And he recognised in me a kindred spirit, I think. So we got on really well. He was great. You have to have that intellectual courage to get anywhere in life, Yeah. So that's Acharya Tulsi. And
what's the name of the person, John something, who came up with the integral?
Yeah, Jean Gebser, Jean, and then the surname is Gebser. His work's been translated into English. It was written in German, but it's available now. Okay, last thing I want to do before we finish, and we've then got our Wisdom Keepers meeting. I want to just introduce you to 3 spiritual traditions and their teachings on enlightenment, because as a specialist in different faith traditions and lineages, and I've sat at the feet of people in all these traditions, I want to share some of the goodies I've found. Right, this is part of the party bag to take home. Okay, and the first one I want to share is about Chinese spirituality and Chinese thought, because Taoism in particular, but also Confucianism and the others, has a particularly unique approach to enlightenments. The Chinese loved Buddhism. When it came to China, many Chinese people became Buddhist, right? And they created all kinds of fantastic monastic traditions. They became initiated. That's where Zen comes from. They had one argument, actually, it's quite interesting, in the Chinese Buddhist schools. It was the southern and northern schools disagreed over whether enlightenment is a gradual process. Can you slowly add, so today in this class you've learned a few things, you've added a bit to your pile of enlightenments, then tomorrow a bit more, and next day and next week and next month. So it's a gradual accumulation of stuff, and then you reach enlightenment. And that was one school, and that's called the gradual school of enlightenment. The other school said, no, it's sudden. It happens, boom. 1 minute you're not enlightened, and then you are fully. It's not a gradual thing, it's a sudden thing. Sudden enlightenment. And these 2 schools, they obviously had a difference of approach. The sudden enlightenment school became the ancestor of Zen, and it inspired the Japanese Buddhists to go for this Satori moment when you suddenly get the download. The other school, was more scholarly. It was more erudite. It more believed in, let's learn, let's gradually do it. And they both have their positive and negative points, these 2. I mean, I believe in accumulating the 2 together. I think we should synthesize the 2. I'm a practitioner of both gradual collection of enlightenment points, enlightenments, plus you get some downloads as well. You need both.
You know, I think I would listen more attentively if I had a pit stop. Would you mind?
No, let's pause there for a minute. Can you switch the camera off?
Yeah.
You press the silver button